What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Today, we got a lot of Kevin Feige in MCU news today. So, we're going to go ahead and be going over that. There's some stuff from James Gunn that he talked about with the old DC, I guess, unit, you could say. Practical Magic 2 started filming, and a couple other things. So, let's go ahead and get right on to it. All right. So first up, as I mentioned, James Gunn is talking about Henry Cavill and the old DC unit. I guess it's DCEU, but I call it the DC unit. So let's go ahead and see what he says. James Gunn recalls telling Henry Cavill he wasn't returning as Superman. It was really unfair to him. He was an absolute gentleman about it. He said, "The only thing I ask is that I'm able to reveal it myself, opposed to it coming from you guys." The director added of Cavill's reaction to the news. So that's when he's James Gunn is referring to Henry Cavill when he put out the post on his Instagram saying, "Hey, I've been contacted by James Gunn. It looks like I'm not part of it anymore." And this was literally 2 or 3 weeks after Warner Brothers, the head of the studio of that Warner Brothers, not James Gunn, the head of the actual Warner Brothers company, was like, "Hey, go ahead and announce your return as Superman," because he had just been in Black Adam. So I'm sure that's why he said it, because then, yeah, either way, it sucks either way, but let's go ahead and continue what James Gunn said. James Gunn is shedding light on the moment he had to tell Henry Cavill he was not returning to play Superman. During a recent appearance on the Happy Sad Confused podcast with Josh Horowitz, the DC Studios boss briefly broke down the confusing timeline that saw Cavill announce he was set to reprise the character before announcing roughly 2 months later that he was not moving forward in James Gunn's superhero universe. My mistake. I thought it was 2 weeks. I guess it was 2 months. We were dealing with trying to figure out if we could take the job at DC Studios, and we were talking to David Zaslav and all the legal people there and figuring out what our deals would be, he recalled. And the day our deal closed, all of a sudden they were announcing that Henry was back. Oh shit, that's kind of crazy. Gunn admitted that he was taken aback by the news. I'm like, what is going on? Like, we know what the plan is. The plan was to come in and do Superman, he said, referring to the new 2025 film that just came out a couple weeks ago. That was let's see. Usually I don't read, but I'm gonna go ahead and read today. That was really unfortunate. I'm like, this poor guy. And so Peter Safran and I knew the right thing to do is to sit down with Cavill and to talk to him. And we sat down, we talked to him. He was an absolute gentleman, a great guy about it. He said, the only thing I ask is that I'm able to reveal it myself as opposed to coming from you guys. Of breaking the news to Cavill, the Guardians of the Galaxy writer-director said it was really unfair to him and that it was a total bummer, but there were outside influencers who wanted to take on what they wanted to do at DC and were trying to force their way, and it was just never part of the equation. I assume he's talking about The Rock. I don't know 100%, but I assume he's talking about The Rock. Despite not returning to lead James Gunn Superman, Cavill and Cornsweet were in communication before the latter Man of Steel took on the iconic role. I had the pleasure of exchanging letters with 2 previous Supermans, Henry Cavill and Tyler Hoechlin. Both of them interestingly sort of said in their own words, "I'm not going to try to give you any tips," Cornsweet said at the London's film premiere. "They were very encouraging, and we had a lovely exchange. I'm excited to meet them one day. It'll be great when we can all get in a room together." At the tail end of the conversation about Cavill, host Horowitz asked if it'd be too confusing to recast the actor in Gunn's DC universe, to which James Gunn responded, "No, as another character, absolutely not. I talked to him about it on that day. I would love to put Henry in something." Okay, motherfucker, if you wanted to put him in something, why didn't you just put him as fucking Superman to begin with? Everybody still wanted him to be Superman. Whether or not people liked the Snyderverse movies, whatever that may be, because it wasn't even all just his movies, they fucking loved Henry as Superman. So why would you not just say, hey, why not do what you're doing with the stupid shit that you're doing with Suicide Squad, where some events are the same and therefore the characters are the same, and apply that to Superman and do a Superman movie with Henry Cavill? What the fuck? I like David Cornsweet as Superman, don't get me wrong, but he could just as easily have recasted however many people he wanted and kept Henry Superman and say, oh yeah, this is a different universe, but same Superman, and some events are congruent with one another. And some aren't. What a terrible, stupid excuse. No, I would love to put him in something one day. Like, no, dude, I'm sorry. He's not going to come back. He played the freaking peak gold standard of superheroes. He's not going to come back and play some fucking stupid one-off character that you put in all your movies that just are a waste of time and space. I genuinely like the new Superman movie, but this is one of the dumbest things James Gunn has ever said. would you recast him or would you put him in the movie? Oh yeah, I'd love to. Then why not just put him in the role he was already in? Fuckface. But whatever. I mean, if they're all happy, they're all happy. I at that point, if he's keeping Peacemaker, potentially Harley Quinn, uh, literally every single person from Peacemaker season 1, those are all his characters. So he's like, oh no, mine will stay. Everybody else's will go. But the ones that I have that stay, somehow they've gone through the same events and they just don't change character, whereas everybody else is different and went through the same events. That makes no sense. That's stupid. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this? James Gunn telling Henry Cavill he's no longer Superman, then I guess in the same fucking breath telling him he wants him to be in his DC universe. If I was Henry Cavill, I just straight up would have been like, if you want me to be here, just keep me for what I am. I fucking work hard to have this physique. I am Superman. Like, what? Come on, dude. And he could have recasted literally everybody else. So it is what it is. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about this bogus? All right. Next up, we have Taylor Russell exits Michael B. Jordan, Thomas Crown Affair due to creative differences. So this movie, I didn't see any footage of it at CinemaCon, but what's his name? Michael B. Jordan sent in a clip talking about the Thomas Crown Affair and that he was filming and everything like that. So I think they're like decently into filming, like maybe like a week or two, not like far along, but since then it's been months. So and I believe this is his lead actress. So Taylor Russell exits Michael B. Jordan's Thomas Crown Affair due to creative differences. The film is in production and the role will be recast. Michael B. Jordan's The Thomas Crown Affair is moving forward despite losing one of its stars. Russell will reportedly no longer star in The Thomas Crown Affair due to creative differences, and the Bones and All actress will be recast, The Hollywood Reporter has learned. The film is currently in production in London. And also, by the way, this is Michael B. Jordan's second outing. This would be his sophomore outing for a directorial film. The Thomas Crown Affair, which Jordan directs and stars in, is a remake of the 1968 film of the same name starring Steve McQueen and Faye Dunaway. Drew Pearce from The Fall Guy and Hotel Artemis wrote the script following a previous draft written by Wes Took and Justin Britt Gibson. Russell, that's tough to say. Russell was originally set to star opposite Jordan. The Thomas Crown Affair cast also includes Kenneth Branagh, Lily Gladstone, Danai Gurira. Was that the girl from Killers of the Flower Moon? No. Who is this? Oh, okay. That's why the name looks familiar. She's from the Marvel movies. Okay. I don't know why I thought Lily Gladstone is. Oh, she's the one from. Okay. Just kidding. All right. Excuse me. My bad. I saw that name, but read that name, and I was like, oh, okay, wait. Is that the person? Yeah, I'm stupid. Producers include Jordan, Elizabeth Raposo for Outlier Society, and Charles Roven for Alice Entertainment. Also producing are Patrick McCormick and Toberoff Productions, Mark Toberoff. Alan Trustman, who wrote the original film, serves as an executive producer. Up next for Taylor Russell, she is set to star in the Korean thriller Hope by Na Hong-jin, alongside Michael Fassbender, Alicia Vikander, and Jung Ho-yeon. Damn, that's actually a really good cast. She will also star with David Johnson in the upcoming Frank Ocean film. Additionally, they're making a movie about Frank Ocean. Additionally, Russell is in talks to star in a remake of Single White Female opposite Jenna Ortega for 3,000 Pictures. Neither of those girls are white, so how does that work? I haven't seen the original one, so I genuinely don't know. Thomas Crown Affair from Amazon MGM Studios will release in theaters on March 5th, 2027. Deadline was first to report the news. Okay, so what do you think about this? I wonder what the creative differences would be. I haven't seen the original. I don't know anything about the story, so I have got no clue. But I wonder if the creative differences is maybe some uncomfortability in the role and her wanting the character to be a certain way, but Michael B. Jordan's vision's like, no, this character needs to do this because this and that. I don't know, but that's interesting. I can understand when like a director or a producer leaves due to creative differences from the studio, or like a producer leaving for creative differences from the director. But when an actor does it for creative differences from the director, that I kind of do not like. because this is your job. Your role as an actor is to just be the chameleon and just become whatever the director needs you to be. You read the script before going in, so you know what to expect. So I mean, I'm not an actor though, but that's how I see things. Whereas, like, while in the director's chair, the director and the studio could agree at the time, and then the studio could randomly want to change. Maybe, to be fair, maybe Michael B. Jordan did the same exact thing, and the change is what is their creative difference. But I just think it's a little bit different as the actor or actress. Your job is to just do whatever the fuck the director tells you to do. But all the best to her and where she goes. And I would say get Jenna Malone, or not. What's her name? Janelle Monet. I keep saying Janelle Monet. Get Janelle Monet to fill this role. She kind of looks like this girl a little bit, and she's a good actor as well. So I would recommend that for replacement actor. But I guess we'll find out. We'll keep it up to date. Let me know down below in the comments, what do you think about this? Have you seen the first movie or the original movie? I have not. What do you think about this story being readapted? And who do you think should replace Taylor Russell for the role? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, along with that, before we get into the big Marvel news, Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock celebrate the first day on set of Practical Magic 2. The witches are back, the Baby Girl star wrote in a heartfelt Instagram post. Full disclosure, I have not seen Practical Magic 1, so I have no idea what the fuck this shit's about. The witches are officially back. To celebrate the first day on the set of Practical Magic sequel, Nicole Kidman shared a heartfelt video on Instagram of herself and Sandra Bullock shooting for the film. The witches are back. Owen's sisters' first day on set. Practical Magic, the Baby Girl star wrote for the capture of the post, while the Lost City actress can be heard saying, "Turns out we have a lot of work to do." Kidman and Bullock first starred as Sally and Gillian Owens, two sister witches who are plagued with a family curse that kills the men they fall in love with. Oh, that sucks. In the 1998 film, helmed by Griffin Dunn, Practical Magic 2 will be directed by Suzanne Bier, who Bullock has worked with on Bird Box and Kidman on The Perfect Couple. Oh, okay, so I like when they're both leads are familiar with the director. I like that a lot. Okay, so she's got her red hair back too. Of working with Bier on Practical Magic 2, Kidman said it was like the perfect triangle, the trio to work together in the film due to the director's past with both actors, as I just said. She explained Sandy's worked with her too, and so the two of us were like, well, this is the perfect triangle because we all know each other so well. And so to be able to work on something together and something that is fun and witchy. Diane West and Stockard Channing are set to reprise their roles in the Owens aunts who raised the sisters after their parents pass. In the follow-up, new additions to the class include Joey King, Lee Pace, Maisie Williams, Zola Marduena, and Solly McLean. I don't know her, but I know. Oh, I don't know him or her. I guess is Solly a boy name or a girl name? But I know the rest of them, and that's a great cast. Evan Rachel Wood, who played Bullock's character's daughter in the first film, revealed that she was not asked to come back for Practical Magic 2. I offered my services, even if it was one scene or one line. I was told they are recasting. I'm sorry to disappoint the fans. It was not my control or choice. I would have happily rejoined my sister, she wrote on Instagram stories in July. Okay. Why would they recast her? Does she look old? That's the only reason I can think of they would. That sounds kind of mean, but Akiva Goldman, co-wrote in the 1998 movie, co-wrote the sequel and script alongside Georgia Prickett. Bullock and Kidman 2 service producers with Denise D. Novi, who worked on Practical Magic. Practical Magic 2 hits theaters September 18, 2026, so just over a year from today. Now, I am curious. This name sounds really familiar, so I do not know who this is, so I'm going to look them up. Oh, wait, let me just do that. Yeah, continue. 1987. So, okay, she's the heck? Let's see. Has she been in anything recently? Let's see here. She's Westworld. Okay, she's in Westworld. Who was she in Westworld? Was she the main girl in Westworld? Oh, she was. Okay. Oh, and she's married to Jamie Bell. I like both of them. That's so weird. I wonder why they didn't want her to come back. That kind of sucks. But all right. Either way, that is it for your Practical Magic 2 update. If you guys are into that, there they are on the first day on film. And I've never seen the first one, and maybe the second one will look decent enough for me to want to watch it, or maybe one day I'll just watch it anyways. Who knows? But go ahead and let me know what in the comments. What do you think about The Practical Magic 2 first day of filming. What do you think about the one girl being recast? I think that's kind of fucked up, but whatever. It happens all the time. But why recast that one and not the rest? No idea. Anyways, go ahead and let me know what you think about that down below, and also let me know how the movie is if you have seen it. Again, I have not, so I'm interested. Okay, next up, we got a whole load of Marvel news. Oh my God, Marvel just blew their load all over everybody this past weekend. And so let's go ahead. So this one article may or may not cover the next like 4 or 5 that I already have kind of pre-planned out to talk about. So it could be a short show, but if not, it'll be a longer show. So let's go ahead and see what this is all about. This upcoming week, we have Comic-Con, and Kevin Feige and the MCU are not going to be there, but he gave us a lot of juicy scoops over the weekend that we're going to go ahead and talk about today. Marvel's Kevin Feige talks scaling back, losing Kang and his text to James Gunn after Superman. Out of the Fantastic Four First Steps, the studio boss engaged in a freewheeling conversation with journalists where he spoke extensively about the stumbles of the post-Endgame content boom, while Miles Morales won't be coming to the MCU anytime soon, and what's going on with Blade. That's a lot in itself, just right there. In a nondescript conference room on the very descript floor of Marvel Studios, the full-size... Oh, that's cool. I want to go there. Full-size Iron Man statues, superhero murals, and movie props as a padlocked door. Behind that padlocked door is a whiteboard featuring a plan for Marvel movies spanning for the next 7 years. Now, to be fair, they also have movies already planned out for the next 5 years. So is it really the next... Or I'm sorry, the next 2 years. So is it really the next 5 years or the next 7 years after Avengers Secret Wars? Who knows? So teased Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige, the producer behind the most successful run of movies in Hollywood's history, as he welcomed a select group of journalists into the same room where he first met Doctor Strange star Benedict Cumberbatch, and where filmmaker Chloe Zhao pitched her take on Eternals. Marvel's run has been tested as of late this year, especially with the Thunderbolts and Captain America Brave New World, which grossed among the lowest totals for the company. Yes, but Thunderbolts was a fantastic movie. But Feige isn't interested in your theories of superhero fatigue, which he doesn't buy is real. He pointed to DC Studios Superman, which is doing strong at the box office, at least domestically. Okay, here's the thing. Superman might not even make as much money as Man of Steel. To be fair, there are less people going to the movies nowadays, and it is more expensive than it was then. So it's a give and take. It's a push and shove kind of relationship. Feige said he texted the filmmaker James Gunn to let him know how much he liked it. I love how you just jump right into it. Feige enthused with the film, which Gunn directed after he helmed 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies before decamping to run DC Studios. You don't know who Mr. Terrific is? Tough. You'll figure it out. You don't know who this is? Just go. This is a fully fleshed out world. Even if he doesn't buy the idea of superhero fatigue, Feige and his team have done plenty of post-mortems on this year's underperforming movies and on all their movies since the massive success of Avengers Endgame. Okay, so real quick with this, one of the biggest complaints about Superman, though, is that you're thrown right into it. You feel like you're missing a movie in this movie because they are all new characters. This is a little bit different than something like Star Wars, where technically you're thrown into the action, but you still get the background and the story of everybody else. You still kind of understand where Luke comes from, where Leia comes from, where Han Solo comes from. You understand those kinds of things. Whereas this one, you're like, okay, I get Superman and Lois are together, but the biggest question is always, does Lois fall in love with Clark or does she fall in love with Superman? And we don't find that out in this movie. I hope one day we'll find it out. But something like that, like you don't need to necessarily tell the origin again, but at least tell us how we got here. Show us how we got here. Show us just a montage of battles that he just tore through with villains that aren't as popular, but like people know in the comic, like underground villains. Do a montage of that at the beginning and then say, over the past 3 years, he's fought this many people, and just show him fighting and show the first date of him and Lois. You don't have to show how they got to the first date, just show the first date. That's one of the biggest critiques of this new Superman movie, which I also agree with at the same time. Like we start the movie out with his ass getting kicked twice. And it didn't feel earned, if that makes sense. But apparently Kevin Feige liked it, so good for him. And there are also a lot of people that like it too. I'm just not one of them. Right now, the company is prepping for the July 25th release of its latest movie, Fantastic Four First Steps. It's the first time Marvel Studios is handling the characters after a trio of movies of various quality and box office made by 20th Century Fox before its 2019 acquisition by Disney. There's also the never released 1994 feature produced with the low budget King Roger Corman. Fun fact, the 4 stars of that movie cameo in First Steps. Cool. Thanks for the spoiler. Not really a spoiler, but that is kind of cool. I've only seen that movie once, so I don't know if I will recognize any of them. One thing that Feige seemed to relish is that this new movie is mostly self-contained in a fully fleshed world that doesn't require the dreaded word homework. We didn't want to have the Eternals issue where where were they? Where have they been? How come they didn't help with Thanos? He explained, we wanted them to be a part of our reality so that we didn't have to say, oh, look, they were hiding over here. And highlighting a 1960s aesthetic was more than just a period piece choice. It was a unique aesthetic that felt like it could absolutely be its own world, its own reality, said Feige. And when we show it to audiences in the screening process that we do leading up to it, people just accept it right off the bat and feel liberated that they can just enjoy what's ahead of them. He underscored that it is no homework required. In a freewheeling discussion with the journalist, Feige, wearing a blue Fantastic Four hoodie and a Wonder Man cap, opened up on a range of topics from what is going on with Blade, his future at Marvel, and the exit of Jonathan Majors from the DCU. All right, I wish I had a water because my mouth is getting dry. Okay, let's see. Yes, Feige knows Marvel made too many movies and shows and other things that they did wrong. From the first Iron Man in 2008 through Endgame in 2019, Marvel produced around 50 hours of screen storytelling. In the 6 years since Endgame, the number has jumped to an astounding 102 hours of movies and television, 127 hours if you include animation. That's crazy. That's too much, Feige said. He characterized the time period after Endgame as an era of experimentation, evolution, and unfortunately, expansion. And while he's proud of the experimentation, he points to the TV series like WandaVision and Loki as some of the best stories they've made. Agreed. Loki season 1 and 2 just feel like one big movie, and that's what they wanted it to feel like. And when you do that with some of these other characters that just don't have as well developed stories, it feels like trash. He admits it's the expansion that is certainly what devalued that output. Being on high success may also have pushed Marvel to readily agree to try to deliver more programming at the time when Disney had the rest of Hollywood were engaged in the streaming wars. It was a big company push, and it doesn't take too much to push us to go. People have been asking for Miss Marvel for years, and now we can do it. Do it. Oscar Isaac wanted to be Moon Knight. Do it. Recalled Feige. So there was a mandate that we were put in the middle of, but we also thought it would be fun to bring these to life. Marvel has already pulled back the amount of movies and shows it makes. Some years, these are really bothering me right now. Some years may even only have one movie. Certainly, there will be years with the only one TV show. Okay, interesting. Also, Marvel has started grinding down on budgets with movies costing up to a third cheaper than the films from 2022 2023. Interesting. Okay. Because most of these movies, they were going around like they were having a budget of like $220 million. And that was just the basic movies. Usually, movies with that kind of a budget are the big Avenger movies. So that's crazy. Here's why Thunderbolts failed, even though it's a very, very good movie. The massive expansion into television and focus on Disney Plus led to the feeling that watching Marvel was becoming a type of homework. It's that expansion that I think led people to say, do I have to see all of these? It would be fun. It used to be fun, but now do I have to know everything about all of these? And I think the Marvels hit it the hardest where people were like, okay, I recognize her from a $1 billion movie, but who are the other two? I guess they were in some TV show. I'll just skip it. Also, that movie's just not that good. And also, Brie Larson has the James Gunn effect where she just says shit that she probably shouldn't in interviews and it turns people off. This had an effect on the Thunderbolts, which featured characters that were seen on various platforms, including some only appearing on shows before hitting the big screen. Yeah, like Agent Walker. Some of them were still feeling the residual effects of that notion. I guess I had to have seen these other shows to understand who this is, Feige explains. But if you actually saw the movie, that wouldn't be the case. And we make the movie so that's not the case. But I think we still have to make sure the audience understands that. Yeah, that's one thing I did like. They literally talked about how Walker was and then was not Captain America in about like 10 seconds. So and then on top of that, everybody else was from the movies, but Black Widow wasn't a movie that necessarily everybody saw. There's a lot of Black Widow characters in that, and so on and so forth. Feige is staying put at Marvel for now. Okay, a lot of people were wondering if maybe he was going to retire after Avengers Secret Wars. No Hollywood executive stays in their chair forever, whether it's because of a change at the top or a bad run of movies. Change is inevitable, and succession is a hot topic at Disney and in Hollywood in general. Feige was a bit circumspect on how long he would stay at the company, quietly admitting he has about 2 years, a little less, on his contract. Okay, interesting. Ow, damn, I just hit my ankle on my chair and that hurt. So 2 years on his contract, but they have 7 years of movies? But regardless, he stated his desire to keep making big movies for the widest possible audience. Do I want to be making big movies for big audiences in 10 or 15 years from now? Yes, absolutely. That's all I want to do. Marvel is a great way for me to do that right now, but I hope making big movies for lots more people forever. Or forevermore, excuse me. Feige addressed Jonathan Majors for the first time without talking about Jonathan Majors. Marvel faced several curveballs in the last few years as it worked on its post-Endgame phases. Yes, there were real-world issues because of a pandemic and Hollywood strikes, back-to-back strikes at that. There was the tragic loss of Black Panther star Chadwick Boseman, and there was the assault conviction of Jonathan Majors, the actor who was playing the villain Kang, and seemed to be teed up as the next big arch nemesis for the years to come. Yeah, this whole situation. Oh, Nikes. This whole situation right here right here for Marvel, all that crap was like the beginning of Ant-Man when Luis is just talking about. He's like, "Oh yeah, like my sister died, I lost my job, my parents got divorced." He's like, "But I got the van." Whatever it was he's saying, that's what this was. It just nothing but shit after shit after shit coming and hitting Marvel right in the fucking face. Feige never mentioned Majors by name, but instead calling him Kang actor at one point, or the actor, or just zeroing on Kang as a character. Well, why are they treating this like it's maybe it's in his contract? He can't say his name, but why are they treating him like he's Voldemort? He literally just it's so stupid, and the charges were dropped anyways. It's dumb. And Feige said Marvel was already preparing to pivot away from Kang before the Majors issues. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but let's hear him out. We had started even before what had happened to the actor, before what had happened to the actor happened. We started to realize that Kang wasn't big enough. It wasn't Thanos. There was a potential for him to be. Just because you guys mess him up in the writer's room doesn't mean he doesn't have the potential. The potential of Kang was awesome. And that there was only one character that could be that because he was that in the comics for decades and decades, said Feige. Because of the Fox acquisition, we finally had it, and it was Doctor Doom. So we had started talking about Doctor Doom even before we officially pivoted from Kang. And in fact, I had started talking with Robert Downey Jr. about this audacious idea before Ant-Man 3. So that's, oh my God, that was 2 years ago, almost 3, even came out. It was a long plan that we had to take one of our greatest characters and utilize one of our greatest actors. That's it. That's all he says. They didn't say anything more about Jonathan Majors and Kang or whatever. Okay. Do I believe he was talking to Robert Downey Jr. about coming back before Ant-Man 3 released? Yes. Do I believe that it was for Doctor Doom? No, I do not. I think it was for Iron Man. Realize that Kang wasn't big enough. You can't say that when you apparently were having this conversation before Ant-Man 3. Ant-Man 3 was this big breakout onto the big screen, but that movie wasn't good. But if anybody that watches Loki thinks, oh my God, this guy is menacing, he is threatening, and he is scary, and there's a bunch of him. So if you were officially planning for this transition away from Kang before Ant-Man 3 even released, why not then cut the post-credit scene where you have the Council of Kangs? I do not believe, I love Kevin Feige, I do not believe one word of this little paragraph here, except for the fact that he was talking to Robert Downey Jr. before Ant-Man 3 released, but I think he was talking to him about coming back as Iron Man, not Doctor Doom. I guarantee he said, hey, we need you to come back as Iron Man, because shit sucks right now. And Downey was like, hey, how about Doctor Doom? So again, I don't believe any of that. Kang, he could have been a big enough villain. He could have been a more menacing enough villain. Thanos was not a big villain at all. He was one of the bigger ones per Marvel. But for the casual audience, they didn't know who he was. I mean, I played the video games too growing up. I didn't read much comics growing up, but I played the video games, and Doctor Doom was the big bad guy in Marvel Ultimate Alliance. But I know who Thanos was, and all you showed him at the end of you showed him in 2 post-credit scenes and 2 scenes in a movie over a course of what was that from 2012 to 2018 technically. So you showed him 3 times before the movie he was in, which was Avengers Infinity War. You should have given Kang that same respect, and it would have been just as good, especially with Loki. Loki is a good show, and B, he is great as He Who Remains and as Victor Timely in both seasons of that show. So to say that he wasn't big enough, that's a bullshit, bogus lie. And he could have been big enough if Ant-Man 3 was a good movie. Ant-Man 3 is just not a good movie, and Jonathan Majors is the best part of it. So yeah, again, sorry, Kevin, I love you, but this whole statement is absolute bullshit. Moving on, don't expect a live action Miles Morales anytime soon. Thanks a lot, Sony. Many fans have been for years clamoring for a live action MCU appearance of Miles Morales, the Spider Man who has headlined the acclaimed Spider Verse movies from Sony Animation. When asked where Marvel was at the development of a live action version of the character, Feige responded, "That is nowhere," and noted that Morales' fate was in Sony's hands. Sony has their brilliant genius, incredible Spider Verse animated franchise going, and until that finishes, we've been told to stay away. And that's perfectly fair. The Spider Verse movies, I mean, it's confusing. They're distributed by Sony, but the story for the Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland are by Marvel. But regardless of whether they want Miles Morales or not, Sony knows they got hits on their hands with Into the Spider-Verse and the animation. Those are some of the best, not just Spider-Man movies, but movies in general. And so they have I'd say they have every right to do that. All the shit, I think, like if they want something like Venom, I think they should give Marvel full control over. But with these Spider-Verse movies, they're doing something good and they're making sure it's great every single time. So these delays they suck. I hate having 5, 6, 7 years between movies, but if it's as good as these movies have been, then go for it. And they have every right to tell them to stay away. And Kevin Feige is very respectful of that. Notice how he, in particular, calls out has their brilliant genius, incredible Spider-Verse animated franchise going. He didn't talk about the Morbius or the Madam Web or any of that other craven bullshit that Sony released. So he's very smart with his words there, in particular, calling it out, saying, hey, just your guys' animated stuff is good. So any live action shit, good to us because we know how to do it. Okay, let's move on now to Blade. Blade is being sharpened again. Haha. What's the holdup with Blade? Well, he says here, the obstacle is Ryan Coogler called and said, we'd love some costume. Wait, what? Kevin Feige says that the obstacle was Ryan Coogler called and said, we'd love some costumes for Sinners. And we said, take them, man. He's our good friend. Take our costumes. We'll hold off on the movie. That sounds like another bullshit statement. Hey, we're going to make this movie that we announced in 2019, but for this movie that you want in 2025, that you'll film in 2024, late 2023, we'll go ahead and keep pushing the movie off so you can have a costume designer. The costumes have already been designed. On the John Campea channel, Robert Meyer Burnett did an interview with the costume designer of Sinners, and she had already designed the costumes for Blade. So I'm sorry, this is just another bullshit statement. You can't say in 2019, yeah, we're going to have Blade, and then 6 years later come out and be like, oh yeah, it was Ryan Coogler's fault because he wanted the costume designer. You know how many costume designers are in Hollywood that could have created the same shit? All they wore was suits. Oh wow, okay. Well, now I look like an asshole because Feige, of course, was joking. John, maybe sometimes you should just read instead of yapping. That's my mistake. Just kidding, Kevin Feige. I love you. This is the best paragraph I've ever seen in my life, and it's nothing but truth. And invite me to the movies. Feige was, of course, joking, connected to Sinners to a version of Blade, but that was recently being developed on set. One that was set in a Prohibition era, just like Coogler's original hit earlier this year. Okay, wow. I feel real dumb now. Feige confirmed that there had been 4 takes of Blade that had been developed over recent times. 2 that were period, 2 that were not. Okay, interesting. Marvel has now landed on modern day, and yes, Mahershala Ali is still attached. Okay, that's the most recent update we've gotten in at least 2 years about this movie that wasn't a delay. He didn't reveal the timeline for Blade, but he did say that he and Coogler have a timeline for Black Panther 3. Okay, so let's stick on this real quick. I liked the idea of it being a period piece set in like the 20s, I think is what one of the original ones was. It was like the 20s or the 60s. I like that. And this is the multiverse saga. This could have so very easily already been done. All you had to do is just set it on a different universe. It didn't have to be on the 616 where people are like, oh, where was Blade during the events of all the Avengers movies, blah, 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 blah. No, you set it as a period piece in the 20s in a different world. Hell, you could even make it in the 20s on the Fantastic Four's universe because theirs is set 40 years later in the 60s. So this Blade movie could have been made a long time ago. It could have been a great 90-minute just action, bloody vampire film that took place on another universe. It's not that difficult. If you're in the multiverse saga and you only have about 5 or 6 projects or whatever it may be, maybe at the most 10 out of like 27 projects that have been done so far, that's not enough. You're going to have the multiverse saga. You need to have multiverse, almost fucking multiverse everything. There should probably have only been about 4 to 5 movies that took place on our Earth. Everything else should have been multiverse. Even Black Panther Wakanda Forever in a sense could have been multiverse, and that Chadwick T'Challa died, and then the ours was just recasted and still alive. That was it. So very, very interesting their choices of this multiverse saga film, and there's no way it could have taken four times to make that movie just to land on modern day. That means it's not going to come out till probably after the X-Men movie. So and yeah, whatever. Tonal malleability is a key to Marvel's success, and yes, there will be more R-rated stories coming. Deadpool and Wolverine, as well as the Daredevil TV show, have shown that Marvel is becoming more and more comfortable with pushing its stories that are adult-oriented. But its characters can also appear in age-appropriate settings when needed. It's all a way to keep audiences interested and invested. That is how Kevin Feige pointed out. You can have the Green Goblin build snowmen in Disney Plus' Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, but then kill Aunt May in Spider-Man No Way Home. Punisher is another example. The Violet Vigilante, played by Jon Bernthal, is the subject of a special that just began shooting last week and will air on Disney Plus next year. It is intended to be TVMA. But when Punisher is in the Spider-Man movie, it'll be different tonality, Kevin Feige said, coming from the character of in his next Spidey film. Feige still feels the flexibility of going into production without a set script. The Marvel method of movie making has included ever-evolving scripts and a heavy lifting in post-production. Striking a contrarian position, Gunn, after working at Marvel, has publicly stated that his DC Studios won't begin a project without a lock script and a definite ending. This is going to be their biggest mistake at DC because things change, not just while you're filming, but also in the editing room. And also, if you wait till the script is done, bro, we're not going to... It'll be 6 years before we get Superman 2, and what's-his-face will be fucking almost like 40. So you just can't do that. Feige says Marvel has never started a movie without a full script, but also added that he's never been satisfied with the script that the company has had. I've never been satisfied with the movie we've released, TV even added on top of that. And what he and the company like to do is plussing at every turn. There's plussing happening every day on Avengers Doomsday set right now, and it's amazing to watch because what those filmmakers, those actors, both the ones that are playing these characters for the first or second time and the one playing them for the 10th or 12th time are best at it in the world at it, and they know this character so well, Feige said. So if they have an idea, you want to listen to it, and you want to adjust, and you want to improve it. I wouldn't want to change that. Stephen McFeely is writing the script, but Feige revealed that Loki creator Michael Waldron is also helping, which is interesting because Michael Waldron was set to direct the Secret War, or not to direct, to write the Secret Wars movie, while Jeff Lovett, I think was his name, was going to do the Kang Dynasty movie. Avengers Doomsday has taken place of Kang Dynasty, but they still have Michael Waldron coming in and helping out with Avengers Doomsday apparently. So that kind of excites me. I was not the biggest fan of Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, but apparently he had to rewrite that script about 12 times or more. But I love Loki, and having the Loki writer and Stephen McFeely as part of the duo from Winter Soldier, Infinity War, Civil War, Endgame, I think those two are going to make new magic together. So I'm very excited for that. Just don't have the tone of Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness. That movie sucked. So very exciting news for that. Interesting that Michael Waldron's helping out. He came back. They technically had fired him off of Secret Wars, and he's coming back. So, oh man, that was a whole lot of information from Kevin Feige, and I still have 5 more articles of him talking. I was thinking this one was going to be one big juicy article that talked about everything. No, they didn't even talk about anything from the other 5 articles I have. So this is going to be a long, long segment. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. Kevin Feige teases Tom Holland becoming a proper Spider-Man and meeting up with Jon Bernthal's Punisher in A Brand New Day. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige has teased Tom Holland's transformation into a true Spider-Man in Spider-Man Brand New Day as he discussed his upcoming clash with Jon Bernthal's Punisher. Tom Holland's popular version of Peter Parker is set to make his superhero is set to make superhero history as the first Spider-Man to star in 4 solo movies rather than leaving after a trilogy, or 2 movies if you're Andrew Garfield. Bullshit. Amazing Spider-Man 3 should have happened. Marvel Studios' Kevin Feige had discussed Spider-Man Brand New Day at the Fantastic Four Roundtable with Screen Rant's Ash Crosnan in attendance. There, he promised that this will be the true Spider-Man at last. I think there's a promise at the end of No Way Home that, for as sad as it is that Peter's forgotten by everyone in his life, we are seeing for the first time in the Tom Holland Spider-Man stories him being a proper Spider-Man, him being by himself, dedicated to saving the city beyond and dealing with, for lack of a better term, street-level crime as opposed to world-ending events that he faced when working with the other characters. So when you do that, you say, okay, who are the other street-level characters that we've never seen him interact with? And of course, I know, God, my mustache is making me itch from the vibration of me talking. I know the Punisher started in the Spider-Man comic, and that great cover. I think that's the one where he's aiming and then Spider-Man's like doing the backflip. And that great cover, I don't want to say too much, but I won't say too much. Destin Daniel Cretton is doing an amazing job right now in that movie. That starts shooting very soon, and he's got 8 or 9 comic cover-ups on his wall in his art department that he is bringing to life in this movie. That is awesome. Oh my God, my mustache is making my lip itch. The MCU Spider-Man has only really been introduced so far. Wait, what? The MCU Spider-Man has only really been introduced so far. Okay, whatever that means. At first glance, Feige's comments seem more than a little bemusing. Holland Spider-Man has literally appeared in 6 movies so far, headlining 3 and appearing in team-ups like Captain America: Civil War, Avengers: Infinity War, Avengers: Endgame. But he's right. Spider-Man: No Way Home rewrote all of this into an MCU origin story. It did in a shocking way with Aunt May's death, serving a crucial Spider-Man role. She was the one who uttered the immortal words, power and responsibility, defining Peter Parker's life. More than anything else is the promise Feige refers to. Those words conclude Spider-Man's origin, setting up everything to come. Even more exciting, though, is the prospect for Spider-Man clashing with Jon Bernthal's Punisher. As Feige observes, the Punisher was introduced as a Spider-Man antagonist, hunting down Spider-Man because he blamed the webhead for Gwen Stacy's death. He'll presumably have a similar antagonistic role in the MCU too. So I wonder if somehow, some way, Punisher was going to be friends with Aunt May, and they're going to take him blaming Spider-Man for Aunt May's death versus Gwen Stacy. Don't know. Just a prediction based off that one little paragraph. Spider-Man stands alone, not as a member of the Avengers. He's out of Tony Stark's shadow. There is a sense which No Way Home's ending was necessary to reposition Spider-Man in the MCU. Captain America: Civil War had plunged Peter Parker into the Avengers world, and he had since coexisted alongside the Avengers, always in the shadows of more experienced heroes like Tony Stark and Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange's spell erased the memory of Peter Parker, creating a sense of distance between Spider-Man and the Avengers. That means we're pulling Spider-Man out of the more cosmic stories for a moment, instead telling a much more grounded tale. Spider-Man Brand New Day sounds all more promising because of this. So, I do think somehow, some way, they're going to get this out there before Avengers Doomsday, and then he'll be thrown into Avengers Doomsday as back into the cosmic side of things. So with that, go ahead and let me know in the comments below, what do you think about Kevin Feige talking about Spider-Man and Punisher? Okay. Next up after that, Fantastic Four: The First Steps director revealed the Russo brothers directed the post-credit scene. Okay, so this is kind of going away from Kevin Feige for a second. Actually, let me go ahead. I'll move this to last. Let's just get the Kevin Feige stuff over with. Kevin Feige gives production update on Mahershala Ali's Blade movie. Okay, so he did talk about that in the article we went over a little bit ago, so I'm not going to read that one. Woo! Okay, next up. Kevin Feige promises the X-Men will be completely different from Fox's versions. Okay, come on. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige offers an exciting update on the MCU's X-Men, promising something so very different to Fox's various versions. Fox's X-Men franchise launched 25 years ago at a time when few were confident superhero movies could be blockbusters. They openly mocked their comic book roots with Cyclops and Wolverine bantering about blue spandex. Screen Ranch Ash Crosnan attended the Fantastic Four roundtable where Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige offered an exciting update that revealed how the MCU's X-Men will differ to Fox's. There have been more X-Men movies than there were Spidey movies or Fantastic Four movies, so a lot has been done. But again, because it's because it's almost a comic legacy unto itself. There's so much more to tap into, and there's so many sagas within sagas for X-Men that's part of what we're talking about now, which is wait, what? That's part of what we're talking about now, which is a saga to grow and build while doing the most important thing, which is introducing all of these characters and giving them their due in our first film. I'm not going to speak on the makeup of these characters that will be in the first movie, but look at Galactus. Look at Gambit in Deadpool Wolverine. Look at Wolverine in Deadpool and Wolverine. We want to embrace that which was not embraced 25 years ago when I was around those early X-Men movies, which is those comic accurate looks. And oh man, the best X-Men comic accurate X-Men suit was at the very end of X-Men Apocalypse. Oh man, it was so cool. And then they're just like in the next movie, like, yeah, fuck those costumes. There's so much more to the X-Men than the Phoenix Saga. Fox hasn't really explored much of the comic book history. It's true that Fox tapped into some of the most iconic X-Men stories, ranging from the classic Chris Claremont 1982 Wolverine miniseries to the epic Days of Future Past. Oddly, the franchise kept returning to one particular story, the Phoenix Saga. Fox may have made 13 movies, counting Dark Phoenix and New Mutants, but the surface had barely been scratched. What is most exciting, though, is that Feige is promising a comic book accurate X-Men team like nothing we've ever seen in the Fox era. We've already seen the MCU approach with the Fantastic Four first steps of Galactus, a delightfully comic book version who eschews to the strange cosmic cloud incarnation made by Fox. I guess we're going to see that yellow spandex last after all. There's a massive reason to be excited about the MCU's future. Speaking as a lifelong follower of the X-Men franchise, I don't think Kevin Feige could have possibly said anything that got me more excited for the MCU's future. This is the person writing the article speaking. Fox did well with some characters, notably Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and two fantastic versions of Professor X and Magneto, but I always found that franchise so disappointing. There's a lot of really good stuff in these movies. They have much better movies than not good movies. It had such untapped potential. Let's look beyond the Phoenix Saga, beyond Days of Future Past, and yes, beyond even Wolverine. It's time for the X-Men to truly shine, for that potential to be realized, for even more iconic stories. The X-Tinctation Agenda, the Muir Island Saga, and the Phalanx Covenant, and so many other comic book readers love come to life. So that is the article for Kevin Feige briefly talking about the X-Men. So it's going to be a while. We're going to get the old X-Men from the Fox universe in the Doomsday and Secret Wars, and then I think after that is going to be when we get this new iteration. But this one right here, this suit in particular, they had one very similar to it at the end of X-Men Apocalypse, and then they just completely threw it out, which sucked because it was such a cool suit. So moving on from that, the last article on Kevin Feige anyways. Kevin Feige confirms that Thunderbolt director Jake Schreier is... Okay, come on. Why does this keep doing this? Jake Schreier is helming the X-Men film. So this has been rumored for a long time. A lot of people didn't believe it. Everyone's like, oh, like the sources, blah, blah, blah. It's been confirmed for months now. Just Kevin Feige's actually saying it. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige has confirmed Jake Schreier, director of Thunderbolts, is helming the MCU's X-Men relaunch. MCU's current arc is headed toward Avengers Secret Wars, but many viewers are eager for what comes next. We're expecting a multiversal reboot and the MCU's X-Men. Screen Rant's Ash Crosnan. Dude, who is this guy? He got to do everything with them. Attend a Fantastic Four roundtable where he talked about the X-Men movie's director. Yeah, it's official. Jake Schreier is doing X-Men for us. Very lucky, and we're very, very lucky to have him, and very excited to have him. And so we're beginning. It's all starting now. Scripts underway. Jake's an incredibly smart guy. He's an incredibly talented filmmaker. We have the experience with him on Thunderbolts, and if you saw that movie, what he did with those character interactions, he also has his pulse on, shall we say, a younger demographic. Not he's younger than me for sure, but he's tapped into that in a way that I think is important. It was important for Thunderbolts, much more important for X-Men, because X-Men, as it was in the comics, will be a very youth-oriented, focused, and cast movie. Jake Schreier is okay. So then this is now him, the person giving their take on it. So with that, if you saw Thunderbolts, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Are you excited to see what he will do with X-Men. I really like Thunderbolts, and clearly he could put on an ensemble cast. X-Men is a much bigger ensemble than what was in Thunderbolts, but I am excited nevertheless, and I am kind of hoping that Hugh Jackman sticks around. Wolverine is supposed to be this 200-year-old guy kicking it with these teenagers essentially in the X-Men, but like not wanting to be there, but also wanting to be there and everything like that. So man, if he wants to keep Hugh Jackman around and he's just that old grizzled guy that's just like, oh, fuck them kids. And I would love to see it. So with that, that is it for the Kevin Feige era of today's show, I guess you can say. Huge updates for the MCU moving forward. I thought I had the 7-year plan article. I'm gonna go ahead and look that up after I talk about this thing right now. But let's move on to this, which is the Fantastic Four First Steps director reveals that the Russo brothers directed the post-credit scene. So back in February, I think maybe March, they said that they were doing reshoots for Fantastic Four, which I, from that moment that I read it, did not believe at all. I thought for sure they were doing, or maybe it was May. It might have been May that they did this, that they said this, and I was like, no, they're very clearly doing the post credit scene. Of course, they would do that close to keep all the secrets hidden as much as possible. And it's now confirmed. Kevin Feige confirms the Fantastic Four First Steps post-credit scene was shot on the Avengers Doomsday set, suggesting one MCU movie leads directly to the other. The Fantastic Four First Steps focuses entirely on the titular team's conflict with the Galactus and their alternate universe, but Thunderbolts' post-credit scene teased the team's arrival on Earth 616 right after the events of their debut movie. Whatever happens in their film, the Fantastic Four are bound to meet the Avengers as soon as they escape Galactus. At the Fantastic Four First Steps roundtable, where Screen Rant was present, Marvel Studios had Kevin Feige revealed that Joe and Anthony Russo directed the first steps simultaneously to Avengers Doomsday principal filming, according to Feige, and they also did film the Thunderbolts post-credit scene as well. According to Feige, this scene has always been a key part of the movie as it directly sets up Avengers Doomsday's plot. Reading Kevin Feige's full comments below, the Russos directed that on set of Avengers Doomsday, not something that I directed, but we've always known that that sort of tease would be a part of the credits for this movie. A lot to set up, and how that scene evolved over the years. So we have many different versions of how that could happen. That sounds like it'd be more Matt Shackman's words, not Kevin Feige's, but oh well. What it means for the MCU. Okay, I hate that part of the article. So yeah, that's that. So long story short, the Russo brothers, directors of Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, Avengers Doomsday, and Avengers Secret Wars will be directing the post-credit scene that we will see sometime this week. Some people will see it tonight, some people will see it Wednesday, some people will see it Thursday, and some people will see it Friday and over the weekend. So that post-credit scene of a movie coming out this week was directed by the Avengers directors. Go ahead and let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of all of this stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and look up one more article because I didn't see anything about a 7-year plan. So let's go ahead and look this up. Kevin Feige, 7-year plan. Okay. Talking Blade and X-Men, yeah. Okay, I got that. Over the weekend, Marvel Boss invited several U.S. outlets to its headquarters to sit down in a big conversation talking about Marvel Studios. There he teased that he has a 7-year plan, Deadline reports, that goes into 2032. Those plans aren't all set in stone. It's on magnets. It can move around. See, yeah, we didn't read any of this article. But they contain the essence of Marvel's future plan. While the more immediate future will bring Spider-Man in 2026 and the double whammy of Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars during 2027 and 2026, there are big things to come. One of which is still Mahershala's Blade. Yep, okay, we got that. We read that part. We just read about X-Men. It remains to be seen how the Fantastic Four. Okay, so that basically was what it was. So I'm glad that I didn't miss out on anything there. Just they have plans for movies going into 2032, which is so crazy that it's literally almost here. After Avengers Secret Wars, we'll be closer to 2032 than we are 2024, 2023. So it's just crazy to think about how fast this time for this stuff goes. That would be in 2032. That's 20 years since the first Avengers movie came out. That's fucking insane. But he also did talk about recasting, though. So let me go ahead and come back here and talk about recasting big roles. Okay. Let's see. Let's do it from Variety. Marvel plans to recast the X-Men and eventually Tony Stark after Avengers Secret Wars. Okay, so notice how it says Tony Stark after Avengers Secret Wars. So I think Robert Downey Jr. is going to be a little bit more than Victor Von Doom. But reboot is a scary word, says Kevin Feige. All new X-Men are coming to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and an all-new Tony Stark will eventually, keyword eventually, join them. In a wide-ranging conversation with press on Friday, Marvel Studios chief Kevin Feige confirmed that following the events of 2027's Avengers Secret Wars will accompany the recast, will recast the superpowered mutants for the upcoming X-Men movie directed by Jake Schreier. Many of the actors who starred in the X-Men movies of the 2000s and 2010s are currently reprising these roles in 2026's Avengers Doomsday, including Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Alan Cumming, Rebecca Roman, James Marsden, and Kelsey Grammer. More will come as well. Stewart also played Charles Xavier in 2022's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and Grammer appeared as Hank McCoy in the post-credit scene of the 2023's The Marvels. In future films, however, X-Men characters who appeared in previous movies will be played by new actors, along with mutants making their big screen debut. The decision echoes changes in the composition of Marvel Comics following the 2015 Secret War storyline, which involved multiple timelines collapsing and reconverging, mixing up the characters of the main Marvel timeline in the process. We're utilizing that story, not just to round out the stories we've been telling post-Endgame. Just as importantly, you can look at the Secret Wars comic for where that takes you. It very, very much sets up the future, Feige said. Endgame literally was about endings. Secret Wars is about beginnings. The Russo brothers have made the same comments a couple months ago. It might have already been last year, since Comic-Con last year. But Feige was careful not to characterize the changes as a reboot. Instead, the executive said Secret Wars will serve as a reset for the MCU. Reboot is a scary word, he said. Reboot can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. Reset, singular timeline. We're thinking along those lines. So it'll still be the not the private timeline. What are they called? The sacred timeline. Just reset. And maybe this reset has already happened. Who knows? I think we'll find out in a future movie. Later, he added the X-Men is where that will happen next. Oh my gosh. Feige noted that the X-Men comics will, with their focus on Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters, naturally centered around the stories on adolescent characters. They have been a place to tell stories about young people who feel different and who feel other and who feel they don't belong. He said, that's the universal story of mutants. That is where we are going. Even more intriguingly, Feige also indicated that other Marvel characters will eventually be recast, including its most iconic roles like Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. He pointed to many other major film franchises that have done the same thing multiple times over. Amy Pascal and David Heyman are now searching for a new James Bond, Feige said, referring to the producers of Amazon MGM's upcoming Bond film. David Cornsweet, the new Superman, he was awesome. That will always be the case. Feige acknowledged that the stars who have retired their original MCU roles, like Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, have made it difficult to imagine anyone else in those character shoes. Agreed. But it isn't an impossible task. I think it's hard for anybody to do that when an actor has done such a great role, he said. How are they going to ever replace Sean Connery as James Bond, right? At least two legacy actors may still yet appear in the MCU as well. Asked about his plans for a follow-up to the Marvel's 2024 blockbuster Deadpool and Wolverine, with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, Feige, in typical fashion, made no definitive statements, but also did not close off any possibilities. I think there's more fun to be had with both of those characters, he said, but we'll see where. Yeah, they're going to be in shit again. They tease it so many times in the movie. They wouldn't have done that just to fuck with the audience. Like, literally, till you're 90. I don't think they literally mean till he's 90, but maybe 85. And Ryan Reynolds, he's got his trilogy of solo Deadpool movies, and he doesn't want to make another solo Deadpool movie just because it's a lot of work. And he wants to be with his family, but he's definitely going to pop up in other movies. They might do like a Deadpool 4 where it's his ending. But who knows? But also at the same time, yeah, till you're 90, not Ravonna, one of the TVA agents, she's in Loki as well. She said, "Oh, I think your story is just beginning." Like they're literally planting those seeds is what they're doing. They're not just setting us up to let us down. Kevin Feige would not do that, especially with all that the MCU has failed at in the last 4 or 5 years. So, all right, that is it for the Kevin Feige era of today's show. Go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of all this stuff? Oh, man. Whew. That was a lot. So, but really fun, I guess, thing to go over. after this past weekend, and with this upcoming weekend not having them at Comic-Con, but they do have Fantastic Four coming out this weekend, but they will not be at Comic-Con. So this was our MCU-a-con through Kevin Feige. So got a lot of information, a lot of questions that have been answered. And yeah, so now just look forward to Fantastic Four coming out this week. Tonight they're doing the Los Angeles premiere over on YouTube, so go check that out at 7 p.m. where the cast will walk through, celebrities walk through, they'll do interviews, things like that. So go ahead and check that out at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tonight. And yeah, that is it for the Marvel talk for today. Let's go see if there's any breaking news. I got some extra time, so let's see. We got breaking news, movie news. Let's see. Mortal Kombat 2 Red Band trailer with the knockout record of 107 million views. Cool. There was a trailer for Predator Badlands, but I want to be surprised for that movie, so I'm not going to be watching it. Nothing too crazy. Let's see. He confirms Brand New Day co-star. Okay, so it just confirmed that something we already knew and went over. Happy Gilmore 2 is also coming out this week. Yes. What? That's funny. No Country for Woke Men. Eddington reactions are in, and they are divisive. That's funny. I didn't even see that, but that's funny. Oh, that's sad. A lot of people have died today. Jesus. Wonder Woman movie eyes Supergirl scribe Anna Noguera. Let's see this. This is some news. Wonder Woman movie eyeing Supergirl scribe Anna Noguera. DC Studios is taking one step closer to a Wonder Woman movie, with the studio in talks with Anna Noguera to pen the script. Noguera is the favorite at the studio, where she has a blind deal and wrote next summer's Supergirl movie and is working on a live-action Teen Titans movies for Wonder Woman. Wow. She must have just an encyclopedia of knowledge for DC to write that many different scripts with that many different characters. Insane. Wonder Woman is the crown jewel of the DC universe, and along with Superman and Batman, makes up part of the trinity of its key heroes. Gal Gadot previously starred in a pair of Wonder Woman films, with 27's Wonder Woman breaking ground for female-led superhero films, earning both the acclaimed $182 million globally. She also starred in Wonder Woman 1984 and appeared in Justice League, Flash, and Shazam: Fury of the Gods. The role will be recast for a new DC universe. DC Studios said James Gunn recently addressed speculation that the film is being fast-tracked. It's a priority, but I wouldn't call that fast-tracked, he wrote on Threads last week. Nothing is going to be shot unless we're as sure as we can be with the script being good. DC is coming off the success of Superman, which introduces Millie Alcock's Supergirl. The character will bow in her own film on June 26, 2026, along with DC also bringing Clayface to the big screen September 11, 2026. DC Studios has also spent a lot of time developing a Wonder Woman-centric TV show, Paradise Lost, a prequel described as its answer to Game of Thrones. Its status is unclear. Okay, so we got this woman writing Wonder Woman. That shows they have a lot, and Titans, but that shows they have a lot of faith in Supergirl. At least the script. I think it was a one draft submission, maybe two, but apparently she had a really good script. So I'm interested to see. Hopefully Supergirl is good, and I'm interested to see how she'll do with Wonder Woman. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Okay, next up, let's see if anything else. Okay, so earlier I had mentioned that Taylor Reese, I think was it, something like that. Taylor something. Left Michael B. Jordan's Thomas Crown Affair. Now it looks like Adria Arjona from Andor is coming into the movie. I don't know if she's going to be the lead. We're going to find out now. Adria Arjona is set to star alongside Michael B. Jordan in the Thomas Crown Affair for Amazon MGM Studios. Jordan directs and stars in the feature reimagining that is currently in production in London and follows Norman Jewison's 1968 original. Blah, blah, blah. Taylor Russell. I said Taylor Reese. My bad. Taylor Russell was previously set to star opposite Jordan in the film. The Hollywood Reporter reported last week that the Bones and All actress exited the movie for creative differences. Drew Pearce, who wrote the script for the new movie after West took. Okay, whatever. The original Thomas Crown Affair landed 2 Oscar nominated. Arjona, with the updated version starring Pierce Brosnan and Rene Russo. Okay. Arjona is known for such work in Disney Plus's Star Wars Andor and features including Blink Twice and Hitman. She can be seen opposite Dakota Johnson and in Neon and Topic Studios comedy Splitsville. Thomas Crown Affair recruits Jordan with the studio that released its 2023 directorial debut, Creed 3. So it looks like she will be replacing Taylor Russell as the lead actress. Let me know what you think about that. A lot of people want her for Wonder Woman, so it's just funny. I just talked about Wonder Woman a minute ago. So let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you've seen the original movie, and do you think these characters fit these actors fit the role of the characters? Let me know down below. All right, let's see. There's another one. Nothing too much. We went over that. Okay, I think that is it for movie news for today. Huge day for movie news, dear Lord, particularly in Marvel. But yeah, big day for movie news. And I think that'll be it for me for today. Thank you for those that watch on the replay. Thank you for those. Oh, no, not that one. Thank you for those that joined in live. And I will be